Hi, have you ever had a breakdown in communication or saw a lack of understanding because what the result was not what you intended at all whatsoever? If so, you're not alone. I am here with you, and I'm going to provide some training on communication. I'm about to provide a couple series, if you will, of common requests for training, such as communication and conflict resolution. But today I'm going to focus on the definition of communication, the process of communication, and barriers to communication so you can improve yours. When people understand what communication is, they understand that even though everybody does it, it is not a common thing for people to know how to do well. So the definition of communication I use is the art of sending a message with the least loss of meaning. So you have a sender, right? And they have this brilliant idea. They want their partner to come home with toilet paper. So when they deliver that message, the receiver says, okay, got it, good. They come home triumphantly, only to find their partner is frustrated. Why? Because they bought the wrong kind of toilet paper. There was a breakdown. Where was it? How do you fix it? Those are kinds of things that are common and so simple to fix. I say that communication is an art because it is a skill. It takes time to build. You know the difference between a 5-year-old and Monet because of the time that they put into honing their craft. Communication is not very different than that. So after you understand what communication is, you have a sender that's sending a message with the least loss of meaning. So who do you think is more responsible for getting the message across successfully? Is it the sender or is it the receiver? Now keep in mind, when I say receiver, I'm not just talking about necessarily you to me. It can be you to me to a stadium of people. It kind of depends on the message and the intent of it. So, have you figured out who's more responsible? I think it's both. The sender is responsible for preparing the message, knowing the audience, knowing the duration of training they have to give, or not even training, the duration of time they have to present the message. They're responsible for knowing the words that the audience is going to understand. But the receiver is also responsible. They have to give you, as a sender, devoted time. They have to listen attentively. They have to ask for feedback if they don't understand what that message is. So in the one before, the partner could have said, all right, babe, what kind of toilet paper do we use again? And that could have made sure that there was no breakdown in that communication or successful execution. There are some barriers to communication. They can be on an individual level. Is the sender distracting? Do you have any prejudices or unconscious biases against that type of person? So if they have tattoos and you don't find that professional, that might be a barrier. If they're extremely energetic, like I usually am, and you like to be more reserved, that's probably going to be a personality conflict that makes it not so easy to get through. If you find that person lacking intellect, if you find that person wanting in preparation, for instance, when they come in, are they fumbling with their papers? Do they not look prepared? Those are the types of individual detractors that you can have. There can be cultural barriers. Individualistic societies, like the North American society, is very based on recognition. What can I bring to the team? Those kinds of things. Collectivistic societies are more high context and conflict avoidant, but they still try to get to the outcome together. So you need to kind of be aware of those things too. And then, what if it's storming? So there's thunder outside, you're afraid that there's a tornado coming, it's too hot, it's too cold. Those kinds of things can be detractors. And then there's physiological ones. Do you have to go to the bathroom? That's an important consideration too. So you want to try and minimize all the potential detractors to successful communication. So the sender has to be ready, the receivers have to be ready, they have to engage in feedback to make sure they know what they're talking about so red does not become blue. And then they have to minimize all potential barriers to make sure that it's a win-win and the message comes through. Happy, happy.